Hi friends, this is Jarle from Handmade Cards Happy Heart. Thanks for joining. I created a birthday shaker card just because I think shakers are always a good idea. I hope you'll enjoy. I started with my shaker elements, and for this I'm using the outside-in stitched rectangles from Lawn Fawn. I have a piece of Lawn Fawn white cardstock that I die cut with the largest of those rectangles, and then I took one size smaller and I die cut the inside of that larger rectangle. And this will give me a beautiful white stitched frame. And this frame will be kind of the outside of my shaker piece. To create my window, I'm using Lawn Fawn acetate, and I cut it to the exact same size as my frame, and I think this was about 4 by 5.25. And then I'm taking a strong piece of double-sided adhesive just to go on the back of that whole frame. And I used score tape for this. Now you can always use liquid glue if you want, but I just had this score tape right next to me. And then after taking off all that liner paper on that tape, I am putting down my acetate piece. Then I have these foam strips. I used those from scrapbook adhesives, and I'm just putting a little foam strip alongside the whole frame. And this will kind of create a well where my shaker pieces will dance around in. And you have to make sure that all the strips are close together and that there isn't kind of a gap or anything where the sequin pieces can escape. Now also I kind of double up these foam strips, so when I have a first layer of foam strips done, I remove that backing paper of those strips and then I do the exact same thing. So I put another layer of my foam strips on top of the foam strips I already have. So that's what you see me doing here. And this way I create more height so all my shaker bits can move freely. So here you can see this more closely. Now I do need a pretty paper for the back of my shaker element, and I decided to go through my Rainbow Ever After paper pad from Lawn Fawn, and I chose this pretty yellow paper. Now I trimmed it to the same size again, so 4 by 5.25, and now I have everything and I can finish my shaker. I'm taking these spring break sprinklets and I pour these in that shaker well. Now I did already remove that liner tape or that liner paper of that second layer of foam strips. I always do this before putting in all the shaker bits. Then here I am putting down that patterned paper and I make sure to press down firmly so that everything is adhered well. And this already finishes off the shaker part of my cards. And here I always have to stop myself from shaking it the whole time. Shaker cards are just so fun to make. For a little bit of decoration I use the stitched cupcake from Lawn Fawn, and then off camera I already die cut all of the pieces, so I have that base out of Rainbow Love paper pad from MFT, and then the cake itself out of regular white cardstock. Then of course I also have that cute little smiley face, some blushy cheeks, and of course a party hat. And then I just have to put everything together on the cupcake here, and I do this all with liquid glue. So the cake on top of its base, and then the two pieces of the party hat on top of each other. And then for the smiley face, I use the negative space to make sure I have the perfect spacing on the eyes and the mouth. So for that I tape the negative space on that cupcake and I just lay these tiny little pieces inside. And this way it's super easy to do. Of course, I also added these blushy cheeks. This is from Ballet Slippers cardstock. And I always put on a little bit more detail with my Copic markers. So I use R22 and R30 for this. And then just a little bit of detail with my white gel pen. and I really like the look of this. And this is that adorable cupcake. I mean, the smiley face is just the cutest. Now for the sentiment, I decided to use the happy birthday from the really high 5 stamp set, because I just really like the font of that sentiment. Then first I prepped my cardstock with an anti-static powder tool from Tailored Expressions, and then I stamped my sentiment in Versamark ink. Then here I am sprinkling on some white heat embossing powder and tapping off all the excess. And then off camera I heat set it with my heat tool. Now you guys might already know that I can't cut my sentiments straight, so I always use my sentiment banners from Lawn Fawn. So first I line up the left side of my sentiment with the banner, I run it through my die cutting machine, and then I line up the right side the exact same way. And this way you can create your own custom sized banner, also super easy to do. And here I just adhered my sentiment on the bottom of my shaker panel. Now I wanted kind of a pretty border around my shaker, so I went through that Rainbow Ever After paper pad again, and I chose this beautiful rainbow striped paper. I trimmed it to A2 size, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and then after scoring and folding my card base at 5 1/2 inches, I adhered this pretty piece of paper on top of my white card base. And then I glued down my shaker panel on top of my card base. And I did this with some dry adhesive from Gina K Designs. And then after that I just had to put on my stitched cupcake, and I wanted to place this a little bit on the side of that shaker element. I think this card turned out cute and happy, which is always great for birthday cards. I love making shakers for birthdays. Thank you so much for watching. If you love this project, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more tutorials. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye!